Welcome to the Made in Monroe podcast. Today, I have the true honor of sitting down with Todd Perry of PPM Consultants. He's not only paved the way here in Monroe, but he's really been a pioneer around the world. Todd, I can't thank you enough for being here today. Welcome.
Kobe, thank you. What an honor to be with you today. Absolutely.
As I was kind of preparing for today and researching, I was fascinated by your story and just kind of where you began and where PPM has come today.
Yeah.
It really has just been a journey and a ride. But one of the things that really stuck out to me was that PPM was really kind of birthed from a place of frustration and a knowing that you could do it better.
Yeah.
Right?
Great comment. So you had to go back to, we're a family business.
Right.
And my family builds gas stations.
Right.
And so in 1988, EPA promulgated regulations on underground storage tank owners,
right,
which were the client base. We built gas stations. And as I would see the consultants would work for them, they just really weren't taking care of their business. They weren't taking care of their interests because they didn't really understand how petroleum marketers worked and operated because their family businesses also. Mm-hmm. And so we knew that we could build a company that could serve their interests a whole lot better. So that's where it came out of, is knowing that client base,
right,
knowing they had this need to comply with environmental regulations, and knowing that we could build a firm that could really service them and satisfy their needs well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you've done just that.
We have.
Tell me kind of your initial vision for PPM Consultants. Like, did you ever think that it would be 8 offices spanning 4 different states, that you'd be recognized as a top 200 company in the world by Engineering News Record? I mean, that's incredible. And to be right here in Monroe.
Well, we've been blessed. So when we founded the firm, there were 5 of us. Myself, 2 partners, and 2 staff.
Right.
And the 2 partners, I couldn't ask for certainly better partners. One is incredible attention to detail. The other one is a great visionary. He knew we could be bigger. If you'd asked me back in 1994, I said, gosh, if we get to 12 people, wow, that'd be really good.
Right.
We've done well. And but Keith's like, hey, we can charge up to 200-300 people, which we're still working to get there, but we're closing in on it. And but Keith had that vision, and it's been great because the partnership, we all brought unique talents and perspectives, and it worked well. And as soon as we began to work for clients, it just took off fast. It took off faster than we could have imagined. Named Inc. 500 one of the fastest growing firms in the U.S. And anyway, it's just been a ride. It has been a ride.
Can you break down for me, as I was, again, looking and preparing for today, I looked at all of y'all's services. Can you kind of break down for me what you guys are known for, just in simple terms, for somebody that doesn't really understand everything that you guys do? Absolutely.
Great question. So, environmental consulting firm, we originally began to provide environmental services to underground storage tank owners. That was probably 90% of our business. But as time went on, we had the opportunity to work for different markets. And so we're organized by 5 markets. Of course, retail underground storage tank, your gas stations, C-stores, energy, so your oil and gas, your terminals, your exploration production, where they go out and find oil, refine oil, and store oil, work for that service, that's energy. Manufacturing, like graphics packaging in West Monroe, building paper, or Drax biomass, building wood pellets for energy, so manufacturers. Commercial, so whenever a property, and this is the business you guys are in, buying, selling locations from a green space, doing environmental phase 1 due diligence assessment to see if there's anything in the past that could trigger an environmental concern, working in the commercial space for attorneys and developers like yourself, and then to the government side. The government has some programs called brownfields, where they'll go out and they'll take an area like the old Washita Candy Company along the river in Monroe, just down from the warehouse. It's been closed down for a number of years. It's got some environmental issues in it, and they'll go out and they'll help clean that up to where they can bring it back into commerce. So those are the 5 markets we serve, and we 123 folks in the firm, and we love it every day.
So there's not a lot that you don't do.
Well, if it's environmental,
right? Absolutely. You kind of cover the gamut of that.
We try.
Right. You're kind of like Intermountain, like we are in the hospitality space.
That's right. You try
just in the environmental space.
You listen to the clients and figure out what it is that they need, and say, hey, we can do that better, or we can do it just as well.
Right.
And away you go.
That's amazing. It's been a fascinating journey for you, and where you've kind of where you started and where you are now.
Absolutely.
And so you and I got to visit a little bit before today, and we got to talk about a few things and kind of what we were going to discuss. And One of the interesting things you said to me is this is perfect timing for us to sit down. And what a lot of people, I guess, know or may not know is that PPM Consultants has been run by 3 CEOs up until maybe in a month from now.
Yeah, January 1.
Right.
January
so
1.
In a month, it will go from 3 CEOs to 1, and that's you, Todd Perry.
I drew the short straw. So it's going to be me.
I don't think you drew the short straw.
It's been a great journey. You know what? I've had 2 great partners that have given me 30 years of training, Mike and Keith Pyron. Myself and those 2 guys found the firm. We've actually a 3-headed CEO.
Right.
And they're a little older than I am, and they're going to go ahead and take time off and time to retire, enjoy some things. Mike will go first, and then Keith will be after that. But, you know, we talked about, so, okay, what's that going to be like for the firm? And we want to transition it because we want PPM to outlive us. We want PPM to, you know, continue on to the future. And I said, guys, I'd like a chance to be our first CEO, to set the governance right, to set the cadence right, set the meetings. And I believe I'm the right guy. And fortunately, those 2 guys, I sold them on it. And they
I bet it didn't take a lot.
It did not take a lot, but I'll do that January 1st, and our leadership team knows we're going to be announcing to, as you and I sit here, it's December 9th, and next week we'll announce to our whole firm, and hopefully you don't see me going down the road on the spigot saying get rid of this guy.
They kicked you out.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Can I come to Intermountain? And maybe
you can.
I've
got a few offices you can come to. You just let us know.
But we're excited about that, and it's, you know, I've got a vision, and I think that we're looking at some opportunities to grow quickly and provide, expand our services, expand our geography. So I think we'll see those come to pass in 2025, and hopefully we'll see us go in the 5th gear.
Well, how will you lead differently as a CEO that is leading by yourself as opposed to having that shared responsibility?
Great question. And so it's all about style, and we knew when we started the firm, because Keith was in Mobile and Mike was in Birmingham and I'm in Monroe. Mike first started Monroe with me, but after the first year, he said, enough of Todd, and I'm going to Birmingham. That's enough space. That gave us an advantage because the 3 of us had enough space. We could kind of build the firm and not all be stuck in the same ivory tower, for lack of a better word. And so I learned a lot from them. I think that what you're going to see, or what my model is I've got 5 key people in the firm that are my direct reports. Make sure that I get FaceTime with those at least 30 minutes to an hour once a week, so I'm aligned with their issues and their challenges. We've messaged once a quarter to the team. I'm going to message monthly to the whole team, just kind of pick that up a little bit, a little more transparency from the top. I remember very early in my career, I was flying up to Oklahoma City to meet with Kerr McGee. And I was on the plane. I was flipping through the Sky Mall magazine. That may be, I don't even, do you know Sky Mall?
I do.
Do you know Sky Mall magazine?
I do. I used to flip there. Matter of fact, I was on a plane last week and looked for it, and I'm like, it doesn't even exist anymore.
They don't have those anymore. No, they don't have those. And in the back of Sky Mall, there was always an inspirational quote section where you'd have these pictures.
I remember it.
You know, this big, rowboat, teamwork.
Yes.
But there was one, it was President Reagan, and it said something to the effect of, my philosophy is get the best people you can around you, let them do their job and stay out of their way. That's trust, that's delegation. And, you know, you're there to make sure that everything is on track, make sure everything's heading in the right direction. I'm really big on key performance indicators, watching those, making sure those align, but let people do their job. And anyway, I've always kind of groused a little bit that, boy, I wish I'd have bought that picture because that really spoke to me, because that's my style. And my 17-year-old came up with it, found it, or he and I were looking around, we found it. And so I've got that in my office now so I can remember, hey, that's the thing. So, and I was telling my leadership team last week, I said, that's what we're going to do, guys. Y'all are great people, and I trust you. I've got you in the right seats. We'll be there to coach you. I'll be there to watch over you. I'm going to be there to make you better. I'm going to challenge you. But together, we're going to make this firm even better.
I like that, together, because it's not just one person that really does kind of make something like what you have. I mean, it takes a team of people. I say that all the time here. This is not an I corporation or firm or business. It's a we, and we have to do it together. And in order to get to where we want to go, it takes all of us, and it takes you being in the right seat, right?
That's right.
And having the key players in the right seats.
Exactly right.
So what does growth look like? You said you have a vision. So what does growth look like for PPM over the next 5 years?
Well, we know the market's changed a lot since the pandemic. Talent's hard to find. More challenging today than it's ever been.
Right.
Talent's always been challenging to find, but it's even more
really
challenging
hard
today. It is. And, we do some things. We use some performance data. We do some personality testing just to get a sense of what people look like. But we've not made an acquisition proper yet. And so we began a strategic plan a couple of years ago, and that was one of the things, cornerstones of our plan. We believe we're going to grow through acquisition. And there are a number of firms. Right now, as we sit, there are about 60,000 environmental consulting firms in the United States of America. Most of them are less than 10 people. So there's a lot of opportunities to pick up good talent at pretty big, swelps, 6, 8, 12 people at a time. And so we've hired a national firm to go out and help us identify what those firms look like in some markets we're interested in. They presented us our first list of 60 targets. We looked through that, some of them, a lot of them we knew, some of them we didn't, a lot of them we didn't know, I should say. But through that, we found about 20 we liked, we felt would line in our culture, because that's the big thing is when you make an acquisition, you feel like, hey, we're going to be aligned with what we believe, how we approach it. And out of that, we kind of distilled down to about 13 targets. Of the 13 targets, about 4 of them we're in discussions now. So I think you'll see us, that'll be the key thing to propel our growth, is through some acquisitions. Now, by the same token, we're getting a little bit more deliberate about looking for some younger talent and going out to universities. We're a little bit sad that ULM and Louisiana Tech don't produce geologists anymore, but they produce great engineers, environmental scientists, toxicologists, biologists. And so we're going to be a little bit more purposeful about going out into, all over the Southeast, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and bring young talent into the firm too. So we're going to work on the acquisition side, and we're going to work on the young talent side of the base and try to really build our firm from there.
I love that. And I like that you're investing in young talent, because we've tried to do the same thing. I think that you have to, especially if you're looking to the future and you want people to be able to come up behind you and you want the company to last for a while. You have to invest in younger talent. And to have a place to work like PPM and to get to work with you and to learn from you, I mean, I think that's incredible.
Well, you're kind. Thank you.
Well, PPM could be anywhere in the world, literally anywhere in the world, but you've chosen to really plant yourself here in Monroe. Why Monroe?
It's interesting because, we're in Birmingham, we're in Baton Rouge, Orlando, big markets. And those are great markets, but there's a lot of competition in those markets. In Monroe, it's been home all my life. It's where my family built their business. We know the infrastructure, we know the people, we know the tempo, the cadence. We got a lot of amazing clients in this town that from day one came to us and said, we're going to trust you to take care of our environmental business. And there's a need. Monroe needs an environmental consulting firm because there's still a lot of commerce that goes here. But it's about when people come to visit. One thing, Colby, that I learned as I was, growing up, I would talk to people. They may manage a hotel, they may be a pharmacist, they may go to work at Graphic, but they came here from somewhere else, or the GM plant back when it was active, CenturyLink, but they came from somewhere else. Then there would be a friendship, and you'd keep track of them. They get to retirement, and they would stay here. And I'd ask them, I said, why do you stay here? They said, Monroe offers an amazing quality of life that we've never known anywhere else. And I take a lot of pride in that. I remember as a young person just kind of, like, gosh, Monroe and West Monroe, why is it like this? It's like that everywhere. There's two cities beside each other, and there's really not that much competition, but it's an amazing area on both sides of the river, through this whole parish, through all North Louisiana. We got some great people, great food, great talent, and because of that, it's really easy to anchor here because it's just fertile ground. There's no question about it.
It's funny that you say that, because I make a comment all the time, like, if I can just get you here, I think we can keep you here.
No question.
For sure.
No question.
So what are some of the benefits that you've seen to establishing a career here and building your business here?
Yep, no doubt. So when I think about that, and we went from, we were started beside my family's business down on Ticklaw Road, which is 165 South. and then we were there, and then we had an opportunity after, I guess, about 15 years in business to move to Lammy Lane, which is a little bit nicer address. We got a really cool old law office building, which has been great to live in. I think that, just knowing the town, we bring clients in. Mm-hmm. We bring clients in to come visit us, and we show them, this is where Delta Airlines started.
Right.
This is, down Washington, the thoroughfares, Louisville, Forsyth. Here are the restaurants: Waterfront Grill, Mohawk, Warehouse Number 1, Parrish, Janusa's, and they're just amazed at what this place has to offer. So,
yeah, we do have a lot to offer. I say often, like, you could pick Parrish or Janusa's up and you could put them in New York or Dallas or Los Angeles or Atlanta, and they would make it. Like, we've got some of the best restaurants, the best food right here in our area.
We do. My friends at Doe's be mad if I didn't say
well,
those
absolutely,
guys
Doe's too. I did not mean to exclude
and all the
them.
other great restaurants I forgot to mention.
They do, all of the other ones.
But we love them all. But it's just, it's like a special little place. We've always regarded it that way. Mm-hmm. And again, as we've grown our firm, brought people in from other areas, bring our clients in from other areas, they love Monroe. Yeah. They look forward to coming here and visiting with us and seeing what we have to offer.
Well, and it's kind of like the place, like all roads lead back to Monroe, because I can't tell you the times I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, and I was walking a design, like a trade show, and there was a guy, he said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Monroe." And he said, "No way." He said, "I met my wife in Monroe." I said, "Well, I would love to hear the story. How did you meet your wife in Monroe?" He said, "I went there for business, and a mutual friend introduced me to her. And so as I'm traveling through Monroe, I met the woman that I was going to marry and become my wife." I'm like, that is crazy. That's insane. So I joke now, I'm like, yes, all roads really do lead back to this crazy little place.
They do. Look, the ties, I've gotten more business off airplanes, just riding and talking to my seatmate, and you never know when they might be an environmental manager and those opportunities come up. But people know about North Louisiana. They know about Monroe. Mm-hmm. Colby, same experience. I talk to people, "Oh, I've been to Monroe." Right. And now let me ask you this. You've been asking questions.
He just turned it on me. Y'all saw how that works.
So as I travel now, I was in Orlando this past week, and met a couple guys like, "Where are you from?" "Monroe." "Monroe." I said, "It's in Louisiana." "Louisiana." "Yeah, where the Ducks are from." Oh,
Duck Commander.
And they just line them up. So that's
we're known for the bearded men.
Yeah, the beard.
Right?
So you say
I love
that.
it.
And the other fun thing I used to have is we were based on Tickle Road, Ticheli.
Right.
So I would talk to somebody in Indiana or Ohio, wherever, on the phone, and say, "Ticheli." I said, "No, it's Tickle. What does that mean?" "Oh, so that's Cajun for have a nice day." I can't tell you how many people I told, which isn't true.
Isn't true? No, it's not. but you just made it up and they went with it.
And they went with it. So
I think that's why they love us too.
That's why they love us.
Right? We're friendly. We're kind. Like, it's just a great place to live. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. As a leader in our community, why would you encourage? And I guess let's take it from young people that get out of college and they've got all the glitz and the glam that are pulling at them. You've got big salaries. Sure. You've got metroplexes with lots of things to do that are tugging at them. As a leader and somebody who's been planted here in this community, what reasons would you give them to stay here and to give it a shot and to stay planted here and to plant roots here with families?
Absolutely. Great question. So I always talk to people short-term, long-term. Mm-hmm. Short-term, you can run and find the glitz and glam. You can find the shiny thing.
Right.
But if you think about the long-term, you think about the true quality of life here. I mean, this is a sportsman's paradise. Right. Whatever your hobby is, whatever your interest here, we probably have that, in North Louisiana. Then, I talked about our nice food, our nice people, our nice culture. But long term, if you plan to have a family, it's a really great place to have a family, raise a family. I've raised one here. You're raising one here. We were raised here. I mean, it really is special. So I would talk to them about, don't just think about the here and now, which is, matters.
Right.
But think about the long term. And there's a quality of life. I mean, there's some things in North Louisiana happening right now. A Metasite possibility out to the east. We have Amazon fulfillment centers that we're doing work for that are coming into the area. In your business, I mean, the hotels. It's amazing how many hotels now we have in the area, and we're building, I think, 2 or 3 more right now.
We're building one right now.
Yeah. I mean, and so we're growing. This is a great place. It's a place where there's just good people. And I think at the end of the day, that's where I'm going to land with someone is like, you really need to think about the people that you'll be around, the quality of life you can have, because this really is a fertile, special place.
One of the things that I would like to ask you too, just you've been somebody that has not just dwelled here and lived here, but you've really given back to the community. You've served on boards, you've been involved in philanthropic endeavors here in our area, and I'm very big on giving back to the place that's given so much to us.
Sure.
And so why would you encourage, or what is the importance from your perspective of giving back to the community and getting involved in serving in the place where you're planted?
Well, it's pretty easy, Kobe, because you always tell my boys and daughter, you get what you put in. So, when you have an opportunity that you have time, or you're in a position where you can donate time to a board, give me your intellectual thoughts, certainly support them financially, you invest in that, because we've been blessed, and you just pass it on. You just pass along, and it's kind of a fundamental duty to serve. And I remember, this isn't a great organization, but I remember when we first started PPM, one of my clients said, "Hey, I want you to come help me on the United Way board. I want you to come help me with Ducks Unlimited. You're going to be amazed at the network you begin to build." So I joined and started helping in these two very different things, and built a great network very quickly. And that was just kind of rocket fuel to just propel me right along the way to, have opportunities to do more. But I think fundamentally, when you invest, you build your network. So not only are you giving, but it comes back to you too.
It does.
Now, that's not why you do it, but they just work together, just hand in hand. So I would just say, the key thought is when you give your time, it will come back to you. Not only does it benefit the area, but it will benefit you too personally.
Well, you get so much by giving. It's kind of like when you give somebody a gift. Like it's more fun to me to give and to see the joy on their face than it is to receive.
Right.
And so I think it's the same way with this. You serve and you give, but you get so much more in return.
No question.
Lastly, this is just kind of a fun question, but what's your favorite thing about Monroe?
So I love to play golf. So I love our golf courses.
Yeah, my dad wanted to know. He said this morning when I was talking to him, I said, well, Todd's coming in today. We're going to sit down. He said, can you ask him how he gets to play so much golf and if he could teach me his secrets?
Well, maybe that's a new podcast.
That's for a different day.
Yeah, different day. But I just love our community. I love our area. I love our parks. Think about what we've done at the tennis courts at Forsyth Park.
Right.
What you can walk at Caroli Park. The new indoor pickleball, volleyball. The list goes on and on. But I just love our community. I love our people. I love our food. I love all the things you can do. And, people may say, well, it's Monroe. It's a sleepy little town. They're not looking. They're not giving it a fair chance. Because you get out there, we got great golf courses. We have great recreation. It's just a really special place. And I'm fortunate to where I do get to travel. You guys get to travel.
Right.
We get to go to big, shiny places, and they're cool things. It's fun to see. But there are a lot of infrastructure challenges, a lot of headaches that go along with that, and it's nice to go visit. Yeah. It's always so good to come home.
Well, and you're 2 minutes from the grocery store and from your friend's house or your family's house. You can get anywhere here. Every time I go to Dallas, I'm like, man, I love this place, but I do not want to live here. It takes you an hour to get anywhere. So
that's right.
I do think we're really fortunate to live in a community like this where we do have some great things. We've got amazing companies. We've got really wonderful things that take place here, and you can travel and come back home.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, Todd, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I appreciate it. I can't wait to see what the future of PPM looks like with you at the head.
Well, Kobe, thank you. It's been an honor to work with you and visit with you today, so thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
You bet.